Buying a road bike, it can be a very big decision, especially a lot of times because of the cost. Depending on what type of road bike you buy, they could be, sometimes as inexpensive as $400 or $500, but up to $10,000, $15,000, and a really good, entry level quality road bike's probably going to be somewhere in the $1,500 to $2,500 range. So it's a big decision that you choose the right place and you find a store or an online website that's going to provide you with enough information and resources to make sure you're being fit correctly. So I can speak to a couple great places to find road bikes online and also in store. So I can't tell you every single bike shop that exists, but I can tell you number one, I would say, Google bike shop. So if you're looking for a road bike, I would say it's a good idea to at least set foot into one bike shop to help understand the fitting process. Being fit for a road bike is a little bit more technical than being fitted for recreational bikes. Now, I'll speak to this in a second. We do offer bikes, we would classify in the road bike hybrid category, but not full on road bikes. So ours don't require the same kind of technical fitting as a real true road bike. So my suggestion number one is go into a bike shop and have them at least explain to you the different sizings of frames, how to properly be fit, things of that nature. And once you're armed with that information, I would say do your research. So if you have the correct fitting information, where to buy a road bike is really up to you, because if you know what frame size you need and what kind of handlebars you like, you could build it online and have it shipped to you. You could buy it in the store. It doesn't really matter. But if you're not armed with the information around how you need to be fit, it's going to be very difficult to buy online. So I would say if you're buying a road bike, look for a bike shop that's road specific. There's a lot of bike shops like us. We're more recreational based. Sorry, we're a bike brand, but we're more recreational based. So my wealth of information in the road sector is going to be significantly less than a shop that focuses on road. Because there's very specific performance elements that staff would know quite a bit better than we would know. So I would say look for them. And when you look up their page, just see what their product selection is. If you see them carrying a lot of cruiser bikes and only a couple road bikes, my suggestion is maybe they're not right for you for a road bike, unless you're concerned about price. If you're only concerned about price, I would say number one best place to get a very inexpensive road bike, maybe even less than $400, would be on Amazon. However, your selection may be less. You're not going to know the product as well. Its performance may not be up to what you want. But again, if price sensitivity is really what you're looking for, I would say shop online specifically, because there's going to be a bigger selection. If you're looking to get fitted and really understand and get your bike tuned exactly to your body, and you have certain goals around speed or races, I would say buy in a bike shop. So that's, where to find road bikes on sale kind of differs depending on your needs. I know of some other websites. There's one called The Competitive Cyclist or competitivecyclist.com. They're great for road equipment and road bikes. You can actually plug in your measurements on their website and they will recommend the road bikes that are best for them. So that's really one good option. I can't speak to if their pricing is competitive across the board, but it's something to look at. I would also take a look at bikesdirect.com. They have a good selection of off-brand road bikes. So if you understand your sizing and your specs, I would say take a look and see if you can find some road bikes for sale on there that would suit your needs. Buying a road bike on sale or for sale could be a challenging feat potentially. It really kind of depends on what price segments you're looking at. So when you start to get into the $5,000 plus road bikes, I think the likelihood of finding a great deal on those bikes might be less. As you get higher in price, the actual margin that the bike stores and the bike brands make on the bikes comes down as a percentage. However, the dollar amount to be made per bike goes up. So there is a little bit more wiggle room in terms of the dollars to be made. However, margin is getting quite a bit lower, that it kind of disallows a lot of retailers from really marking those down as significant. So when you come down in price, maybe in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, the margin may be a little bit higher. So you may be more likely to find bikes in that kind of category on sale. The other reason for that too is you're going to see a lot more inventory of road bikes in a lower price point. When you walk into a bike store, it's not very common to find, let's say, 25 bikes all priced over $5,000. Now, not to say that no road bike store in the US doesn't exist like that, but you're going to see a way larger selection in the, $1,000 to $3,000 range, because for a kind of entry level novice but sort of serious road biker, that's a more common price point. So the larger the inventory in that sector, the more you're going to obviously have most likely left over at the end of the season. So end of the season is going to happen after Labor Day. The seasons, the cycling seasons are pretty much the same across the board, starting in February and March and ending sort of after Labor Day. However, on the more competitive cyclist side, road bikers in particular, the season's really never going to end. And that's just because, these are riders that take riding very serious. So they're going to, strap on ultra warm clothing in the middle of the winter and want to get out there and ride their bikes. Or if they're not doing that, they're going to be at their house on something called, rollers, and they're going to be riding their actual bike on sort of a treadmill-like device in their house. So it's not as, the usage of a road bike doesn't ebb and flow as much with the seasons as it does with recreational. The recreational rider really doesn't want to be out there riding in the cold, whereas the dedicated road cyclist does. So in terms of the discounting, especially across the accessories and parts related to road bikes, it's going to be less in the off season as it is to more recreational, because you're going to see less recreational riders coming in looking for bikes after Labor Day or before, April 1st. Whereas the road cyclist that's riding his bike in his house in the winter to stay, in shape, he's going to be buying components and things all year long. And the shops know this. They know that those dedicated riders could come in at any time and want to buy a bike. So their needs to discount aren't going to be as common. That's when I speak to the higher price points. So if you're looking to get a deal on a road bike, I would say you really want to focus on the $1,000 to $3,000 segment. That's going to be your best opportunity to find a larger inventory and hopefully more markdowns at the end of the year. 630 at this time really doesn't focus on road bikes. There's a couple different reasons for that. I would say a big reason is because I personally am not a road biker. I have ridden a road bike and actually decided that I like bicycling and cycling more for the lifestyle, kind of recreational, social, exercise element of it, but not to the point of competitive or, very long, intense 2, 3, 4, 5 hour rides. That's not me. And so our brand doesn't reflect the kind of products that enable that type of riding. I'm definitely a proponent of cycling every day or riding every day. I'm a proponent of using bikes for transportation every day. But I believe that we can fulfill those usages and needs not with road bikes or elements of road bikes, but more combining it into the hybrid bike category. So that's really a big reason why we don't carry road bikes. It's not part of our brand and who we are. But one thing I can say about road bikes or road bikers is those really are a big contingency of the bike category that are driving the industry as a whole to continue to be a part of our culture. Because a lot of the road bikers are the most dedicated riders of all the segments. These are riders that literally are riding 60 miles a day sometimes, or, if not per day, hundreds of miles a week. And so I think it's been great for the industry because it keeps it relevant in our culture. And that crop of riders are the ones also pushing for legislation. You know, they want more bike lanes, they want more rules around sharing the road with cyclists. And so you've kind of seen in the last 10 years that, you know, that dedicated core has put pressure on our government and our country. And as a result, it's increased bike lanes, it's increased the usage of bikes, it's made a bike or made bikes a more relevant keyword in the conversation of transportation. So for that reason, I love road bikes and I love road cyclists, and it's only helping us to do what we do because we're just saying, hey, you know, we want to also give other people bikes that don't want to ride road bikes, but we want to advocate for the same thing. But I would say typically what you see is the road cyclists tend to be some of the most dedicated riders in you know, of all people riding bikes.